Why is recorded in front of a live studio audience.
But they also may become best friends and then may die.
No, I think they're going to have one of those like beat it type fights during the solo.
Oh, for sure.
Where like their hands are tied together, but they have to fight. Yeah, that's happening.
For sure.
Yeah.
And they'll both bring like a different kind of panache to it.
Right. I think my money is on your mom.
Really? I don't know.
I don't know which one would fight dirty, you know? That's the big question. Who's the one that's going to fight dirtier, I guess?
I think your mom.
Really?
I don't know. Because, well, if we were in a death match, I would fight dirtier.
Oh my God, you would be, yeah, stomping on my head. Yeah.
But it doesn't mean I'd win, but I would fight dirtier.
No,
But
I would be crying, that's not fair. So.
I don't know. That's a really tough one. We might actually have to like have this happen.
Make it happen. Yeah, exactly.
Maybe this is our key to fame and fortune.
I know. This, or it's going to turn into like a Smooth Criminal kind of thing. I don't know why my only reference point is Michael Jackson
I
figures.
don't know, but I have been running into a lot of Michael Jackson references today.
There we go.
You got the Doors and I got Michael.
Okay, well.
But, you know, all of those are good. My mother's favorite song of all time is Billie Jean, so.
I was going to say Ben. Okay.
No, I love Ben.
Of course you do.
Me too.
Just a lone tear rolling down your cheek while you listen. Yeah.
This is Why, with your hosts, Heidi Hedquist and Luke Poling.
When did Stern start as a pinball company? And how does one get into making pinball machines in the first place, I guess?
Sure. So Gary Stern, who's the kind of founder and chairman, CEO of the company, he was essentially born into pinball. His father, Sam Stern, worked in the industry. And just taking a 30,000 foot view, Chicago is synonymous with pinball the way Detroit is with automobiles. So
Okay.
Chicago has kind of always been the central hub of pinball manufacturing. So it's not really something that is just like, oh, every state has a pinball manufacturing plant. It is
Right.
it's kind of few and far between. So from a Stern perspective, Gary Stern started a company called Data East in the 80s. I believe it was 1986. And that later became Sega Pinball. And
Okay.
then eventually became Stern Pinball. So this company's been in business for, coming up 40 years. I have been at Stern for coming up 5 years, but I've been around pinball my entire life. So I can give you the too long didn't read version of my history in pinball, but
Please, we love that.
so my father, Roger Sharp, has been credited to being the man who saved pinball. So he, in the 70s, testified in front of a courtroom to prove pinball was a game of skill, not chance. So from the 40s through the 70s, pinball was illegal in all the major metropolitan cities. So Chicago, Los Angeles, New York, you name it, which is kind of ironic because the games were being manufactured in Chicago, but
Right.
also deemed illegal because back in the day, before pinball machines had flippers, they were called bagatelle pinball machines. They used to pay out money. So it was kind of seen as a gambling device and almost like a luck box where you're just plunging and you're praying that, like a pachinko machine, like, oh, the ball's going to go in a certain thing and I win money. And it was kind of deemed it wasn't skill. And it was a way for, it kind of had this mob tie stigma to it. So that was kind of like an archaic law that just kind of stood for over 30 years, that it was deemed illegal. If you look at some of the past, history and Google, pinball being illegal, you'll see imagery of Mayor LaGuardia from New York literally taking sledgehammers to pinball machines and shoving it into the river to kind of destroy it because it had the stigma of, clouding the youth and trying to, look out for the best interest of kids and parents everywhere. So
That was your dad.
my dad was instrumental in proving it was a game of skill. So he went into a courtroom, called his shots, proving, if I plunge this just right, the ball's going to go down this middle lane up top. I have a ball critical on the flipper. If I aim it just right, I'm going to hit this target. And they unanimously overturned the laws and legislation, and it eventually kind of spread across that it was indeed a game of skill.
That's amazing. I've heard of your dad before.
Yes. I mean, there's been drunk history episodes on Comedy Central. There's actually a Hollywood production movie coming out this year starring Mike Feist playing my dad. He was in West Side Story, if you know him. So yeah, no, it's so you can say I was born in pinball. He was actually the director of marketing and licensing for Williams Bally Midway Atari. When they used to make pinball machines, they no longer, they make only slot machines, which ironically is a gambling device.
Ironically, yeah. And so now Stern, you said they were licensing things early on. That was kind of their plan in building machines.
Yeah, so Stern back in the 80s, Williams, they were not really doing licensed machines so much. It was a lot of kind of custom, unique IP, where Stern was kind of the market leaders of testing a pinball machine based solely on the license. So I believe RoboCop was one of the first licensed pinball machines for Data East, followed by Batman, Back to the Future, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and really haven't looked back.
That's
because
amazing.
you have a built-in fan base. So especially with pinball, today's climate's a little different from the commercial market back in the day. Right now we've got both consumer and commercial. But if you're trying to sell games to operators worldwide, I'm going to give you two options. We've got this generic space-themed game with action and adventure, or Star Wars. Who's going to put their money in walking by generic game or Star Wars? And the same holds true to a consumer audience. What do you want to add into your game room? Hey, kids, what do you want to add? Do you want Star Wars with Chewbacca, or do you want some generic thing that you have no emotional tie to?
We were talking about this earlier this morning. Like you said, who doesn't want to shoot a pinball into Gene Simmons' mouth?
I see your shirt. Yep. Kiss.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. My entire college career, I was the editor of the newspaper, and our student center had Indiana Jones. And I constantly, I was obsessed with the film, but till 4 a.m, I'd be missing deadline just to hear her say, "See you tomorrow, Indiana Jones," when you lose your ball. I didn't even care that I lost because I got to hear her say it.
You get the iconic music when you start.
Yes, the boulder, you've got it all. It shakes. It was, and then it got switched out, and I was devastated, but it was switched out for Jurassic Park, like original Jurassic Park. So
there you go.
I was okay with it. It wasn't quite the same, but I still was addicted to it.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
Now, how long does it take you to design a machine? Like Heidi mentioned Indiana Jones, there is the boulder. Each one's got something specific to that, IP, to not sound completely crass and commercial about it all.
Yeah, no, so it takes roughly about 1.5 years of development. So from start of like, hey, we're going to do a Jurassic Park pinball machine, signing the contract with the licensor, and then I would say 16 months later, games in a box. So the whole design process, working with the licensor, going through approval process, there's a lot of steps along the way. So you've got your lead designer, your lead programmer, artists, mechanical engineers helping create the magic in a production feasible way, because these aren't just one-off prototypes, games being built. This is for mass production, so you're ordering thousands of parts that you need to make sure are dialed in, working perfectly, because there's 3,500 parts in every single pinball machine, and it's all handcrafted, hand assembled right here in Elk Grove Village, just outside of Chicago.
And so I'm assuming when the designers find out about certain licenses you've got, they just start rubbing their hands and think, all right, how do we build Pierce drum kit? Do we do it where you like all the stuff of the details of like again, to go back to Indiana Jones, how do we do the boulder? Why do we do these things? They're these iconic. It's got to be a great challenge, but at the same point, still make it a playable game that you can keep going back to and spend hours on.
Yeah, so I mean, every licensor is different. Some like to be more involved than others, where others, I mean, you look at a conglomerate like Star Wars, and they might not be like checking in every week, but it's more of like us presenting stuff, and they, go through their approval process of like, yep, looks good, or nope, can't do this. A ball can't interact and hit a key figure because that's showcasing that you're hitting somebody that's a good guy. I mean, there's a lot of nuance to licensing and approvals, but again, a designer, a programmer, they start kind of brainstorming and conceptualizing, what could be a cool mechanism. So, we just did Jurassic Park, for instance, and it's like, what would be really cool? Having a ball-eating T-Rex that not only catches a ball, but the head's gonna, shake and whip around and throw the pinball, and you're really battling and creating this world under glass.
So
Or like you said with Kiss, you've got Gene Simmons spitting out,
yes.
a pinball.
Amazing. So as sort of the there's the whole like shoemaker with the holes in his shoes. How good are you at the game? Are you great or are you terrible?
Me personally,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to. I like to, actions speak louder than words, so I don't want to humble.
Wow. All right.
I'm pretty good. So there's a worldwide rankings for pinball, and I have finished the year ranked #1 choice. So
you're the best. You
He
are the
sure
best.
plays a mean pinball.
I was the world's greatest.
You are
pinball.
Tommy. You are
Yeah.
Tommy.
The apple didn't fall too far from the tree, for my dad.
Which makes sense, but it's one of those things where I would expect either that answer or like, oh hell no, I never play it. I would never play pinball for fun. It's like working all day or whatever. So I like that. I think it's perfect that you play a mean pinball.
I try. My rank these days is not so good. My wife and I, we had our first kid a few years ago, and I like to say I love my child more than my rank. So
That I think that's
Fair.
a fair argument. Although,
Now-
when's he going to be ready? When's your baby going to be up there?
you know what? He's 3.5, and we got some games
he's
in the
ready.
basement. He likes playing,
It's perfect.
but I'm
There you
not.
go.
I'm not going to push it on him. If he gravitates toward it, awesome. If not, you know what? I'll play.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
fair.
Now, you mentioned how your dad showed to Congress how this is a game of skill. What is that skill exactly? Because I'm terrible if there is skill to this. Because I always get the ball to go right down the center and neither flipper gets it. And there we go, we're out again. How do you do that without shaking the machine furiously?
Well, you do want to shake. So I like
Oh.
to say, if you're not tilting, you're not trying. No, the game will tell you if you're shaking it too much. So that's kind of a risk reward. So there's a tilt mechanism, and games can be set up more difficult or easy, but you do want to shake and try to influence the ball, because if the ball is going to go down the middle or out the out lanes, you can actually save it by shaking it and nudging it out. Now, if you shake it too hard, you're going to tilt, it'll kill the power, you'll lose the bonus. But at least you're kind of trying to influence the ball, which is skill-based.
Right.
In terms of getting better, I mean, it's kind of like any other hand-eye coordination game. If you've never picked up a basketball and it's like, well, how can I shoot the ball in the hoop? It just takes practice. I mean, the more you play, the better, more comfortable you get. Kind of like golf, trying to putt or pool, hit a ball in the hole. You'll just muscle memory, get better, and it's just kind of more fun to compete.
I had no idea that it was legal to shake and try to lean the machine
Really?
one way or the other. Yeah, really. I always felt like someone
like
was
the
doing something
best
wrong.
part.
Yeah, no,
Oh,
people.
this is
people
the
claim
difference
it's
between
cheating.
us.
Yeah, exactly.
No, people claim, oh, that's cheating. You're shaking the machine. It's like, well, the machine will tell you if you shake it too much, because then you're going to lose your bonus and
Wow.
Yeah.
lose your ball. So it's
This is
risk
good.
reward.
This is good to know. Luke and I need to have a pinball
Pinball 101.
contest. Yeah, our
Yeah,
contest.
I gotta
My
get a
ranking
jean
will be good
jacket.
in like the Y.
Yes, exactly. This will be.
Because I shake it like crazy.
I will give you a tip though. So just 2 like super high level. So, well, 3. I gave you 1. Don't be afraid to shake.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2, and this is kind of just like the cardinal rule for pinball. If you don't know what you're doing, shoot the flashing lights. So the games do a really good job of trying to kind of narrate the story and point to where, a feature is lit. If something's flashing really, big, if you hit that, good stuff will happen. So the game does a really good job of trying to show you what to kind of shoot for. And then the third one, and this is going to sound a little counterintuitive, play one-handed. So again, if you're going to pay for playing on location, it might be a little expensive. But if you play one-handed and you're kind of navigating between flippers, it's going to help you anticipate where the ball is going to go. So it's kind of like pool, where it's like you're not going to just pull flippers constantly and be reactive. You're going to be a little more proactive. And this kind of ties into it, but one of the best skills in pinball you can do is by not flipping. So there's this move called the dead flip. So if a ball is coming down, with some good velocity, if you do nothing, say that the ball is going towards your left flipper and you do absolutely nothing, the ball's gonna hit that flipper, bounce, lose some of its kind of momentum and inertia, and go over to the right flipper, and you might be able to trap up and cradle. It allows you to kind of take a breath, and you can start aiming for your shots. So it kind of helps slow down the experience of not just wildly failing, the ball's going everywhere, it drains, what did I do? It kind of helps slow it down. And again, to kind of go on to the pool analogy, if a ball is cradled and you're trying to shoot a shot, if you miss it and you get the ball cradled again, in the back of your head, you can be like, oh, I hit that a little early, or I hit it a little late. And you kind of just muscle memory dial it into like, okay, I'm going to shoot just a little bit later until you make your shot. So when you're cradled, it helps you kind of rinse and repeat, try to, successfully hit your shot.
Wow. That is so helpful. I'm going to go embarrass my children now.
That's perfect.
Just lay waste to them.
What is it about pinball? Of all the, you go into an arcade and everyone is like, there's everything to entice you, right? But for some reason, no matter what the era is, those of us that are cool always go back to pinball.
Yes. Pinball is just a form of entertainment that can't be replicated. I mean, it can be. I mean, you've seen, I'm sure, Space Cadet on pinball and what other video games. But with video games, it's kind of set patterns, and you're confined by like code and joysticks, where pinball is tactile, it's physical, you're feeling it, you're getting fully immersed. And what's really cool, especially with licensed properties, if you're walking up to the Indiana Jones pinball machine, you're getting transported to a world under glass. You go to a Stranger Things pinball machine and you're battling the Demogorgon. I mean, it is just a truly unique experience, where a video game is just on a screen or on your phone that doesn't truly immerse you. Now, it's fun, don't get me wrong.
Right.
It's just different, incomparable.
Yeah, because you can look away from it, and a good machine really, it has that screen, so it's sort of looming over you in a way. It's talking to you.
Yeah, you're battling gravity, you're defying physics.
See, we're getting scientific. This is great. So do you have a favorite machine because of the characters on it, or because of the play on it?
I would probably say my favorite current game. So again,
Don't name the one that you guys are trying to sell right now. You've got a lot sitting in the warehouse.
Well, I'll give two answers. So
Okay.
One, I'm biased. So my dad was a designer as well back in the day, and he made this game called Cyclops. It was very limited, only 400 in the world, and so my father owns one, my brother owns one, and I own one. So we almost have 1% of the Cyclopses in the world.
Wow, that's cool.
So that has like sentimental value. So it's a game that he designed. He's actually in the artwork, and so is my mom. So it's kind of a funny, fun game. If I had to pick a new game, so Stern, we released Godzilla last year, and it's a monster of a game. You've got a building mechanism that rises and collapses. You've got a animated animatronic bridge. You've got a magnet that's in the belly of Mecha Godzilla that you shoot up a ramp and the ball can catch it on this magnet. So, it is in the truest essence a world under glass. And it also has the new Insider Connected platform, which has helped connect all the newest Stern pinball machines. So it's kind of like Xbox Live if you're a gamer, but for pinball.
And what does that connecting do? Does it just share share like scores and stuff, or is there another element of being able to trash talk each other?
So it's multiple things. So we just launched that last year, and if you're just like a consumer, it helps. You create your profile, you can earn achievements. So in a game, it's like, oh, you destroyed a bridge, you get a cool like bling achievement, and you can earn badges if you're playing at special events. We're about to launch this new feature called leaderboard. So if you're at a location or a community event, it's a virtual display of like a bragging rights tournament of like a high score leaderboard. Also some cool, behind the scenes content that you can, witness and watch and engage. And we've got a lot of cool features, in the future. That's kind of for the consumer angle. And then from the commercial side of things, we're trying to arm our dealers with tools to kind of help grow their business. Because, for operators, they make money when there's more people playing their games on location. So we're incentivizing people to connect and play. So we're giving them tools. It helps, with diagnostics. So if you get an alert that, oh, this flipper switch broke or something's down, you're getting an alert versus a lot of the times in the previous days, an operator would have to go location to location and just kind of poke around and waste time. So this is just kind of advanced pinball to be more modern.
Now, looking at your website, which is impressive and colorful, and I mean, all the things like you would want out of a good pinball machine, I noticed on a lot of the games, there is a Pro, there is a Premium, and there is a limited edition. What is the difference?
Yeah. So again, just touching on the different markets that we service, the Pro model is more focused on our operator commercial side. So it's the most economically priced between the Pro, Premium, and limited edition, and it has kind of less bells and whistles because the more moving parts that you implement, there's more prone to more maintenance and things not necessarily breaking down. It's a cheaper option and less moving parts, where the Premium and limited edition is kind of for your more enthusiast collector base. It has more bells and whistles. It's not being heavily, rotated on location. Now, what's interesting, and this has kind of been, a shift in things the last, I would say, 5 years, even before COVID, is you have a lot of hybrid operator enthusiasts. So you'll have some locations that will buy the limited edition and put them on location. So it's not just for the home audience. And same from the Pro model. Like you'll have people at home that, I just want the Pro. I don't need all the moving parts, bells and whistles. And so it blurs the lines of who the audience is, but, taking a step back, Pro, commercial, Premium, and limited edition kind of for your enthusiast consumer market.
Are there collectors of these? There must be.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes.
For sure. I know several. Yeah.
Well, Heidi, looks like the Jurassic Park Home Edition's coming out soon.
Yeah, so that's actually a fourth game that we do offer, so there's no coin mech on it, but there's an affordable home edition. And that's, even more kind of like your entry level machine for your casual rec room buyer. So if you're a person walking into a store and it's like, I want to buy a pool table and a pinball machine and, a chair or foosball table, that's kind of that market. Kind of that entry product into pinball.
That's awesome. That would look good in my living room.
Yeah, it would.
Chair.
Yeah, I'm catching that hint, Heidi. Thank you.
I know. Thanks. That's awesome. So what's on the horizon? What's next? You've got so much going on, but
yeah, so we can't talk about what's in the future because
of course
we're all under NDAs and I don't want to lose my job.
No, that would totally ruin this party. Yeah.
But I would say, new stuff is always on the horizon.
That works.
And I love like the details that you can then upgrade to. I mean, I noticed the Led Zeppelin one, the what do you call it? The spring, the shooter.
Yeah. So we offer accessories to kind of dress up your pinball machines, kind of like people who soup up their cars, like,
Mhm.
oh, custom spoiler and other, knickknacks. Same with pinball, your Pro Premium LE. I mean, even the home edition, it's like, inside arc blades, special side armor, custom shooter knob. Um,
I'm going
and
to be honest, the shooter knob for Elvira, it's not what I thought it was going to be. But the insider, I think blades you said, those go on the inside of the game.
cabinet.
Okay. I didn't realize that there wasn't something there.
Well, on the limited edition, those come with custom LE inside arc blades, but for the Pro and Premium, you can purchase that add-on accessory.
I see.
Uh-huh.
Of the new ones, which one do you like personally playing the most?
Godzilla.
Still Godzilla.
Yeah. I mean, it just came out, and I mean, again, I might be biased. I literally just unboxed one in my basement 2 weeks ago. So definitely has captivated my son's attention, which helps
That
me
counts.
play.
Hey, that's something.
Yes.
Yeah. How many do you have at home?
I have 8 in the basement.
Wow.
Nice.
Do you make your friends bring quarters, or do you just walk around with one of those things on your hip and just dole them out?
Pass them out.
Yeah, you know what? I'll play one-handed against them, and if I win, they buy lunch.
That's fair.
Completely fair. Yeah.
Yeah, that works.
Excellent.
Okay. Except you just told us that we should all be playing one-handed, so
I
that's
know.
all gonna
Yeah, you're-
shift at some point.
I'm trying to think if there's anything else worth because, like you said,
Oh,
like
this is
we don't
awesome.
want to give away anything, and I did not realize your pinball lineage when we set this up.
It's even better.
So I'm
Yeah,
very excited.
The royal
This is-
family of pinball.
Exactly. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Did your wife even know what she was marrying into? I mean, that's an honor for her. Many are chosen, few are called, something like that.
Yeah, embarrassed, proud. I don't know. I think it's a delicate
Right.
line of.
Yes. For more information or order your own pinball machine, check out Stern's website, sternpinball.com, where they also have a wonderful pinball locator. It tells you exactly where you can find arcades carrying Stern pinball machines. You can also follow them on Twitter, where they are at Stern Pinball Inc., and on Facebook, where they are at facebook.com/Stern Pinball.
You can check us out on all the various socials. Be sure to visit our website and don't forget to leave us a review.
Today's show is produced by myself and Heidi Hegquist. Our reluctant producers are John Sauvé and Sandy Stone. Our willing producers are Rachel Allen and Randy Jeanette. Our intern is Zach Jackson. This one's for Philippe. Thanks for joining us. Flash, we're coming home.
Nigel, is that you? Are you here, Nigel?